Hello and welcome to the Student StarCraft AI Tournament weekly broadcast. This is Nightcat and I am covering for Chobo. A little bit last minute, so do apologize for the format and potentially for the slightly shorter cast here, but I've got 4 games picked out of the replays folder. We'll see how long this goes, but first up we got McRaveZ spawning as the Orange Zerg at the top right of Jade 1.0 going up against Zhao Yi. My brain just started to merge Yi and COG, and then I was like, wait, no, COG is part of the tournament name that it was designed for. And so, yeah, so Zhao Yi 2019 from the COG tournament as the red Terran down in the bottom left of Jade. Now, McRave has been showing some really amazing Mutalisk control, and so the Terran AI are going to have to start figuring out how to deal with that and maybe get better turret placement and such. But we'll see how Zhao Yi stands up to McRave's Mutalisk control here. And so we do have McRaveZ going for the, looks like 12 pull, or not 12 pull, sorry, 12 hatch, more than likely. Got the scout drone coming out here, going down to the bottom right. We've got the scout SCV going up to the top left, and a second SCV coming out as well. And this is something that I've started to do in my TVZ games as well, and even a Marine going to scout to the other base too. But not quite that step. But if it's a 4-player map and I scout with my initial SCV, I don't send a second one out as quickly as Zhao Yi did, but I will send, like, if I find the first base I scouted is empty, I will send a second one out, so that way I do get that second scout. And if you time it right, you can basically have your second scout leaving your natural at about the same time it's leaving your initial scout is leaving that first natural as well that you scouted. And so you can essentially get the same exact timing on your scout on the other 2 bases. But Zhao Yi being very aggressive here, throwing Marines into the fray right away. And this is something we see from some bots. I know Hans Bredberg does it a bit too, where it's just, okay, I have military units, I'm positioning these as far forward as I possibly can. And that's just the way the cookie's gonna crumble. And also, this sounds really loud, these sound effects. Hold on one second. Oh shoot, I can't. I have to adjust here a little bit, I think. So it just sounds really loud to me. It probably is okay, because I turned the volume down to what I normally turn it down, so it should be fine, but I'm just going to go ahead and adjust that real quick there. And so we have here McRaveZ going ahead and throwing down some Sunkens here, it looks like, and getting ready, throwing down... Oh, I don't have the production tab open. Actually, now the Mutalisks have started as the Spire just finished. Let me go ahead, it's a 2-hatch Mutalisk play, we can see. Looks like there is a drone over here waiting to start that third. And the Mutalisks are just now coming out. There's really no anti-air for Zhao Yi, so this might be a bit of an issue. There's a lot of vultures, but there's no, like, all the Marines just kept suiciding into the Sunkens there, and that one Marine is not going to do much. There are some Marines in the bunker. Picking off those vultures in one shot there. There are some turrets that very quickly got made after the Mutalisks showed themselves. But these Mutalisks have a lot of room to play. Goliaths are now started. Diving in on the workers here. Losing a couple of Mutalisks, but getting the worker kills. Lost a lot of workers there to those mutas. I don't think it was necessarily worth it. The muta count is a little bit low though. Just 6. And there's not all 6 here. Goliaths are out now. Oops. Do we have Charon boosters is complete, just finished up, so that will help a lot. You pretty much want Charon boosters against Mutalisks here. The Marines still kind of moving out there. Nice little mine contained there. These vultures being chased back again. They tried to get back into a forward position, but without any anti-air to support them, they're going to have to be forced to fall back here. So I'm interested to see... So we do have an armory getting upgrades. So +1 vehicle weapons is actually on the way. You might want to get +1 plating instead of weapons first for Goliath versus Mutalisk, but just so that way, because that's essentially +1 armor is like 3 damage being reduced by the Mutalisk, or from the Mutalisk, right, because of the bounce. So it reduces 1 on the initial unit, a further 1 on the second unit, and then another 1 on the third unit even. So it's sort of like +3 armor in a way, but spread out across multiple units here. And here McRave Z starting up that third base, about a quarter of the way done. We've got the tank here now, so we should see like a Goliath tank push coming pretty soon. I think we're a little bit past the mark where you would normally want to do that, but there was a pretty heavy investment into the Vultures in the beginning, and to the Marines too, which occasional Marine is still being produced, which is pretty interesting, and that Marine is just being sent out toward the front. Another dive attempt here by the Mutalisks, not really being successful, maybe picked off a couple of SCVs. Yeah, these Mutalisks are just like really annoying to deal with as Terran. Looks like the Mutalisk being pulled back probably by this one Marine that's, yeah, the one Marine pulling the whole cloud of Mutalisks back. Not quite what you want to see. But overall, these Mutalisks are still doing the job. I know that we've got a little bit of an issue here on the ramp, but I'm not quite sure what Xiao Yi is waiting for in terms of moving out here. Might be waiting for the starport. That's the science facility, I believe. Yep, that is indeed the science facility. So maybe waiting for vessels before moving out, which at this point, it's been so long, you probably do need to wait for those. A Marine and a medic now just wandering out. Okay. Getting picked off there. Oh, and now we have the move out. We actually don't have any vessels yet, but we're going to have a bit of engagement here. Goliath's getting a little bit ahead out of position. This is a pretty strong Terran force here. Pretty okay supply too compared to the Zerg. Marching across the middle here. We're kind of Congo lining instead of being as a ball, so that's going to work to the advantage of the Zerg. Now these Goliaths trying to stay out of range of the Sunkens while the tanks get into position. Marine just runs in. Ultralisks are out, but it might be a little bit too late. This Terran ball is pretty powerful here. And if I could get it's pretty damaged there, that Ultralisk. But where is Xiao Yi going to commit to attacking here is kind of the question, right? Yeah, also, I don't agree with the move to Ultralisks against mech here in this case. You really, I think, need some lurkers and really make the Terrans spend scans and such in order to deal with them, but yeah, the natural is going to fall here. This nice big mech ball coming at just the right time, I think. And now marching into the main here. I find it interesting too how if that one barracks, Xiao Yi just continues to make a few Marines and medics too. Just continues to produce those to just sort of supplement a little bit the army here. Yeah, the Zerg army too is like kind of scared. It's just refusing to engage, not even attacking when it's pinned into the corner. And with that, it looks like the Grave Z is going to fall in this game. Third base falls. There was this fourth base established here, but at this point, with the other 3 bases gone, it is not going to be, I think, long for this world. And the Sunken gets cleaned up, trying to rebuild some hatcheries and stuff here, but coming up both ramps here. And yeah, with that Xiao Yi will take a pretty convincing win there. I was a little bit worried when the mutas first came out, but that mech ball can just really get strong and sort of spiral out of control. And just looking up the upgrades a bit here, it is at 2/2 with +3 attack on the way. So let's get our game 2 loaded up here. And for our second game, we have Banana Brain spawning as the yellow Protoss up at the top of Icarus, with Banana Brain, or sorry, with Monster rather, spawning as the white Zerg over in the right. So we've got a little PvZ action going on here. Icarus is a pretty interesting map. There's like a pretty wide open middle with not a lot to it, right? Like all the bases are along the outside edge of the map. The corner bases are kind of interesting because they do have this little ramp, but pretty much it's just base, or like main base, natural, and then corner base. And so there's like 3 bases per start location, which I think is a bit different than what we usually see today on maps, but maybe not so much. I mean, like I'm thinking of Polypoid right now. Polypoid really only has what, like 4 bases, I think, per start location, so maybe it's not too different, but the middles of the map have definitely got a lot more interesting. I mean, there's like little bridges here and there, but still, it's a pretty barren middle of the map there. So it looks like we're getting a Forge Fast Expand from Banana Brain. We're on the upgrades instead of the production. We've got Pool and then Hatchery coming out from Monster. It looks like we had a little bit of a run by, but the Zergling gets caught by that cannon, unfortunately. Got the Scout drone doing circles, while the Scout Probe also does circles with a single Zergling on its trail, but it's able to keep ahead of it for now. Gas just finishing up, the drone's getting onto it now. And now the natural getting saturated here. Well, not like full saturated, but I mean, like, you know, we have the transfer of probes from the main to the natural happening here. Both players at this point gathering their gas. We've got the lair started, so Zergling speed not on the way yet. We'll see getting the lair right now and no Hydra Den. I'm thinking we're gonna see some Mutalisk play out of Monster, but we'll see. Keep an eye on that production tab. Meanwhile, 4 gateways coming down now for yeah, we do have the Spire started here for Monsters. So Banana Brain throwing down 4 gateways to jump up to 5 gateways, so it looks like we might see some 2 base aggression coming out of Banana Brain once that production really kicks into gear. And this probe has pretty much seen everything it needs to. It knows that the Spire is there, it knows the Spire is on the way. This drone... Wait, I think there was still a drone. Or maybe the drone did get cut off. Okay, I thought I saw a white dot still in there. I thought that drone was still alive. But not quite. We do have a spotting overlord over here. We've got some Zerglings moving out to spot as well in a few different spots. Yeah, the Mutalisk production has started just as Banana Brain's force is feeling brave enough to move out a little bit here, trying to catch that Zergling. And there is a probe looking to come out and expand here, but there is a burrowed Zergling in the way that's going to prevent that for now. And the Mutalisks are out on the map and picking off these drones or probes as best as they can. Did get a few, but the Dragoons are pretty decent at keeping those Mutalisks at bay. There is no Stargate though. Robo instead coming down, so there might be a big worker bleed here from Banana Brain. And I'm trying to remember if Banana Brain is one of the ones we've seen in the past where, like, the workers just keep getting killed. And it'll just keep, like, resending workers to the base that was under siege without really reinforcing it. But now we do have a large push coming in here from Banana Brain. There's a lot of Sunkens here, and these Dragoons, while their micro does really good against units, doesn't seem to be doing so well against those static defenses. And I was trying to see where those... Oh, here are the mutas. Okay, I was looking for those mutas because I heard the shots going off, but I didn't see them on the minimap and couldn't quite locate where they were. There's also a ground army here. Now the Hydralisks have started. Able to work their way through this Dragoon army and push it back all the way to the natural, but then gonna go ahead and retreat a bit here. We finally have a Corsair out on the field here. A little bit of cat and mouse game here going on between the Corsair and the Mutalisks. Meanwhile, this third's still not quite established. There is now an observer there so that Zergling can be cleared out. But a probe cannot take a Zergling down just on its own, unfortunately. We got a little bit of a chase here, a couple of Scourge going after these Corsair here, and passing over some Dragon forces, able to save them a bit. Monster just on 3 bases for now, but I think that's okay because Banana Brain is just getting their third established in that top left corner we can see here. Although there is a Zergling again chewing away at that Nexus, so gonna need to send at least something over. There's a Dragoon. Actually, the whole army now going over there to clean that up. Monster being really good, keeping spotters out on the field. I love to see that. Just like a Zergling here and there, just to keep tabs on where that enemy army is. Now we have a little bit of a poke here into the natural, which should be able to, yeah, should have to back off, but that army is going to stay away for too long. It could be a little bit of trouble, but now the army is coming back in now. A little bit of a probe transfer happening mid-battle there, but in the end it didn't work out too bad for Banana Brain. Monster being forced to retreat behind the Sunkens here. And there is an Overlord nearby for detection, trying to stay safe too, but there's a lot of Dragoons here right now. Now we have the Lurkers coming out, and I don't see any observers in with the army here, so gonna suffer some losses from these. I think observers maybe just on the way now, or maybe not. I'm not sure where the observers are at. There was one over here to deal with that burrowed Zergling. It might have been, oh, it was over there, so I guess there's only one observer out on the field right now, if we look at the army. Yeah, it's just the one observer to cover for the entire map for Banana Brain, which might be a little bit of an issue. And meanwhile, there are Mutalisks and Scourge just causing all kinds of trouble here in the main, trying to pick off this, the High Templar, trying to pick off the Reaver, so just kind of causing problems for Banana Brain, and now that army sort of petered out without that detection. Monster trying to fight it back. Meanwhile, Monster establishing another base, knows that, okay, Banana Brain's going up to 4 bases. I need to be at least 4 bases, maybe a 5th base now too, if I can get it. I might even be positioning here for a 6th base. No, that's a probe, okay. So now we have an attack actually going on this top left base here. And if Banana Brain doesn't respond with its army, a lot of workers fall in here. Banana Brain's worker count down to 53 right now. Good catch of the workers there. Good storm dodges by Monster. Which the storm dodging in the AI world now has just got pretty insane. As well as like dodging the splash damage from Reaver Skirms too. Another storm going down, but it's just not enough with this dodging here, and yeah, it looks like Monster trying to make a move on this base again. Has enough, I think, to take this base out if it doesn't mind sacrificing that army. Takes out the cannons, but Dot's just going to run into the army here. I feel like it would have been a better choice to just commit this force to trying to clear as many workers out as he can, because it's just trapped, but Banana Brain was trying to take this base, and so is Monster, actually. Dancing the little drone there, trying to wait for this Nexus to clear out, and does that Nexus get canceled? The Nexus actually finishes and then gets destroyed, so that's going to hurt Banana Brain a bit there on the resources. And while we've got Monster's army here dancing around the middle a bit, but Storm going down, but again, Storm's just not quite as useful as they could be. There's also another base here that Monster could take, but Monster wants to take this main. Doesn't quite have the minerals, so that drone's going to be dancing for a little bit more. But there are a couple of lurkers here that are just going to keep eating probes as they try to go and take that base. And now that Hadri does get thrown down in that other main there, but Banana Brain's trying to have a bit of a presence on the map, but its main is mined out, its natural is mined out, so it's just on 2 mining bases right now. And really, it's taxing its minerals as much as it can here. And normally I would say, you know, it should get more, it's got a ton of gas, it should be getting more Templar, but Templar are not that useful with their storms against Zerg like this. Maybe Hallucinate needs to make a play here. Because yeah, see, it storms and then all the Zerg units just avoid that storm so quickly. I can't even kill a single Hydralisk there, it just dodges. Oh, there were some really nice storms. The Zerg units, the way they were clumped up, they couldn't quite get out of that storm. But now we've got the Zerg army. There's not a lot for... Actually, it looks like this base got hit as well. This base got cleared by monsters, so while we were watching this Templar get chased, so... Yeah, there's just no mining really for Banana Brain, and now I think it's just a matter of Monster needing to clean up the bases here. And Monster's effectively taken over the map as a Zerg Swarm should. Coming in to clean up the last stalwart defenders of Ire here, but... And ignoring these buildings and just going for the main here, going for the cannons it looks like. And now it's just a sort of a free-for-all on buildings here. Even some Mutalisks from way back when, I think, and Scourge still alive, and our Ultralisks being started from Monsters. A very strong play from Monster here, and good valiant effort by Banana Brain to try and stem the tide of the Zerg Swarm, but Zerg in the end is OP. With these last few buildings being cleaned up here, we'll get ready for our third game. Which will be a fastest possible map. We've got Crazio spawning as the green Terran up in the top middle. And we've got the Snail player playing as the orange Protoss named Snail in the middle left position here. Fastest possible map. I think it was last week we saw a pretty crazy Zerg game going down between Crazio and a human player. So we'll see what what Protoss is capable of in fastest possible. It looks like we've got a forge, we've got a gateway started. So I'm expecting we'll probably see some cannons that are meant to keep the Protoss alive until tanks are ready to be used to push. Double gas is being taken. Actually, no. Okay, yeah, okay, there's a cannon, alright. Barracks just finishes. We've got marine production started. We've got a bunker started as well. Close to the command center here. Got a couple of cannons coming in. Crazio is getting that first factory, so I think we're going to see a similar composition here that we would normally see from Crazio on this fastest possible map. Well, actually, probably not, because we've just got one factory right now. Crazio floating a lot of minerals. Getting a tank and siege mode. Could have more factories. And now they're getting thrown down. Okay. or a factory is getting, the second one is getting turned down while an academy is also coming down. There's a third factory, okay. Oh, that was a supply depot. Never mind, that's the second factory. I was thinking the academy was a factory for some reason. Oh, what do we got spinning up here? We got a fleet beacon. We've got air attack. Are we going to see mass scouts? Probably not. Looks like Crazio is getting ready here at its choke. But it's going to be have a little bit of a surprise once carriers come out. I also don't... So it got the academy, but I don't see any command center for scan. Yeah, but there's Consat. Oh, okay. We went ahead and expanded over to the right. We're just... Okay, no, we do have 3 factories now. We are getting charm boosters? Yeah, okay, we are getting charm boosters. I think Crazio has scanned and seen the carriers and knows what is starting. Starting to position itself a little bit more forward onto the map here. Mining up everything so that way they've... Crazio has vision of everywhere. Adding on more factories, which is good to see more stargates coming down for the Schnell player. Engineering Bay getting a little bit brave with its scouting, floating right next to the carriers. Carrier group is growing. We also have an Arbiter Tribunal starting up now. Got 7 carriers on the field. Crazio only at 140, 140. Needs to throw down some more supply depots and get a lot more factories going here. Crazio decided to start knocking on that front door. The carrier's trying to come out here, but there's a lot of Goliath here. Actually, only 16 Goliath, which I guess is still a lot, but... Tank's trying to move forward here. We'll see, can this Goliath army handle all these carriers or not? Carrier's moving down south a little bit to try and engage with this Terran army. Trying to use this space where the Goliaths can't get under them for some level of safety, but the Goliath's doing a great job of targeting down carriers. Now we have Arbiters. The Arbiters getting targeted down by the Goliaths as well. That Armada gets picked off there. And can Schnell repel this force? Carrier count is still at 7. Oh, the carrier got left behind, unfortunately, so now down to 6. But yeah, with that, actually, Schnell's going to go ahead and tap out as Crazio has broken through that cannon defense, made its way to the production facilities. And so, yeah, just a good game by Crazio there. Once it scouted the carriers, it started a pretty good mass Goliath production there. And how many factories? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 factories, which is great to see. I I think that's an improvement over some of the initial fastest possible map games that we've seen from Craziest. So good job here by the AI. We're going to hop into our final game of today, which is going to be another AI versus AI game here. We've got Willie T spawning as the yellow Terran up at the top left of Jade. And we've got Steamhammer spawning as the purple Zerg down in the bottom left. And Jade is one of the maps that have the reverse ramp, so that way your main is on low ground while your natural is on high ground. There's also like this sort of area that's dangerous here where siege tanks can fire in from above. So not too big of a worry for Zerg though, because Zerg doesn't have to worry about placing physical buildings for supply. Their supply providers just sort of float. Looks like we're seeing a 12. Nope, that's just a scout. Okay. Wait, looks like we're seeing a 12 hatchery maybe here. Or an 11 hatchery actually. Looks like so this one went out to scout. The initial overlord here should find Willie T pretty quick. Yeah, so Zerg's buildings are pretty condensed usually and not too worried about getting shelled by Terran from above, but like Protoss or other Terran might be a little bit concerned about that. Here we do have a 1-Rax fast expand coming out from Willie T. A little bit dangerous if, although actually, no, never mind, there's a scout, so Willie T is fully aware that there are no Zerglings out on the field yet. I was going to say if Steamhammer had gone something like 9 pool or something like that, this build could just be very quickly crushed, but Willie T is well aware that Steamhammer has not gone for that sort of build. There are Zerglings out on the map now, though. Do have a couple of Marines here. They're not loaded into the barracks, but... Or sorry, into the bunker, rather. But I think this should be okay. There's only 3 Zerglings there. 3 Marines. That should be plenty enough. Although now there's a 4th Zergling. But 4 Zerglings should be able to handle... Even 6 should be able to be handled by 3 Marines. Well, now 4. Because typically you want, in the early stages of the game, you want like 1 Marine per 2 Zerglings or so. Looks like we're getting 2 factories here, so we're going to get actually a mech build off of this 1-Rax fast expand. Meanwhile, Steamhammer is getting the Hydralisk done along with the lair, so not opting to not go for Mutalisks, instead is going for Lurkers, it looks like. Oof, that's a little bit painful, that pathing, especially if it gets an add-on there. No academy started just yet. And really no way of knowing. I'd love to see these. So usually with a mech build, when you get a couple of ultras in the beginning, they help you survive, but you also want to sort of like use them to scout, try and see what the opponent is doing, right? If the ultras were out here, they could see these Hydralisks and know, okay, this is probably, you know, a Hydra, like a lurker opening, so I should probably get scanned quickly, but we are getting scanned here just as these lurkers start their morph. Wherever the Hydralisk is just morph time. Or Power Rangers, it's morphin' time. Willie T actually going for a 3rd base here that's pretty exposed with a small force. That can't really defend that 3rd, but might be able to get away with it. As Steamhammer does a good look at him. Looks like Steamhammer trying to be aggressive here with these lurkers, but a scan goes down, another scan goes down. Lurker quickly gets taken out. And now these workers are going to get eaten up by these lurkers, and Willie T even taking another expansion here. Willie T trying to just sort of mass expand, take over the map, but also sacrificing workers just freely to this lurker field here. One actually got out. One got out, that crazy SCV. But the worker count for Willie T is going to keep falling if he keeps sending workers out like this. It really needs to do something about that lurker field. There, we do have a scan taking out one of the lurkers at least, but Willie T finally mostly breaking out of this, but there is still one lurker there. Might be out of scans. Yeah, just gets a scan now. And is able to clean that up. Meanwhile, Steamhammer has taken a couple more bases. So Steamhammer is expanding as well, but oh, this base got found by the Zerglings here. Needs to repair that command center. Needs to clear out these Zerglings too. There we go. Manages to save that base. Meanwhile, the mech army, which is mostly tanks, moving in on this base here, but there's a decent Mutalisk force here that could clean up these tanks. The base does get taken out though. And Mutalisks just don't quite engage with those tanks to clean them out, so there's still a strong tank force. Meanwhile, the Goliath count is climbing here. And now the army of Willie T is returning up. Oh, we've got some broodlings going down here. So nice use of spawn broodling there, which is a move that you tend to see against. Oh, and even Parasite to get that scouting info, as there are no medics, there's no restoration researched. More queens on the way to deal with the high number of tanks here. I'm liking this play from Steamhammer. I'm liking this move. But Steamhammer is still just on 3 bases, getting its 4th base back again. Well, this base keeps falling because there's nothing to... There's also nothing really to defend this base here from ground, but Steamhammer just doesn't seem to be aware of its existence yet. Willie T really needs to station like a couple of like Goliaths and a tank or something at these bases, but Willie T choosing to let that base fall, trying to send a small detachment to the natural, but actually the army is kind of weirdly broken up here and scattered. There's a tank that's sieged, but it's all by itself. Willie T going down to this bottom right again to take it out. The Goliath train is on the way. The tank's not even bothering to siege to clean up that hatchery there. This base somehow still managing to survive. One tank came over to defend it, somehow takes out Zerglings. And now this 3rd is being marched on by Willie T. If the army can fully commit to this attack here, this is going to be, I think, bad for Steamhammer. And we have Ultralisks again coming out against Mech Army. Yeah, I think this 3rd is going to fall here, unfortunately. It looks like there are queens here, but they're not using spawn broodling. I mean, maybe they're just trying to reserve it for the tanks. There is a Defiler out now, but if there's a couple of Ultralisks had been Defilers instead, we could have had more of them and had more swarm to push back this Mech Army. Mech Army is starting to fall back, though. And now we do have spawn broodling. Once the Goliaths abandoned the tanks, that's when the queens felt comfortable enough to come up. And I'm not sure why Willie T's army retreated here. There was definitely enough to, like, clean up that natural. And now Steamhammer attempted to attack that 3rd again, but I think at this point Willie T can almost just A-move into this base. Maybe not quite, but Willie T should be able to clean up this force regardless of what's happening at the 3rd. It looks like a few... Actually, no, maybe it's really being sent over there to that 3rd. Let's help it, yeah, at this point now. Sunkens are falling. Willie T should be able to march into this natural and then this main and clean this up, so... Nice, strong mech play we've been seeing from the AI lately against Zerg. Yeah, Willie T's gonna it's up a nice valiant effort here by Steamhammer to stay alive, but maybe needs a little bit of willingness to use that spawn broodling on Goliaths, if there's just so many of them that you can't get close to tanks. I mean, there aren't even tanks in this army right now, and the queens are just sort of hovering around it, not doing anything. I wish we could kind of see like what was parasited and see the vision given from it, because I love that aspect of the queen usage, right? Looks like this 3rd was taken back and LET just not quite aware. Drone unburrowing, sort of pulling the army back. So trying to find where the Zerg stars. Almost found it. A little bit of interesting play here. Has drones sort of unburrow. They think it's safe. One gets killed and then they reburrow. And it sort of pulls the army back into this corner. And now expanding to the old natural of Steamhammer. Interestingly, has not expanded to this main. Oh, and now, okay, the army finding this base here and all converging on this hatchery. So GG, well played. And that's going to be it for our cast this week. Again, apologize that it's a little bit short, but this was a little bit on last notice here, or like last minute notice here. So we want to thank everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate the support. Again, links below if you want to play against these guys on Schnail. Most of them are there. Or if you want to just hang out in the Discord, chat with some of the bot authors, or, you know, maybe start on an AI of your own. It's not as scary of a task as it may seem. But thank you again for tuning in, and we will catch you next time. Until then, take care.